Listen, I have no notes in front of me. I have just decided to do this video because I feel like the information I'm about to share with you could make a major impact in your life and in your health, and especially in your anxiety. You know, I've had several patients come in today, this week, and over the years, and you start to notice a pattern that happens with anxiety. And so today what I hope to share with you is exactly what is anxiety, what's triggering anxiety, what we can do to think differently about anxiety so it doesn't run our life. And I do think that this information today, what I'm about to share with you, could potentially change your life. So if it does, please comment, let me know, all right? So let's talk about what anxiety is. If you really look at anxiety and think about it, anxiety is really just fear, right? Fear of the unknown, fear of not being good enough, fear of not doing enough, fear of not eventually having enough or currently having enough. And so we have these fears, and it's actually a normal response to have fear, right? Like, if you think about our brain and the way it's created, we have our conscious brain, which is about 5% of our brain, our capacity of our brain function. Then you have the 95% that's that subconscious, and that's what runs the automatic systems of our body. That's how our heart beats, it's how we breathe, that's what creates sexual drive. And so we have these automatic processes that are underneath our conscious being. So the 5% is conscious, the 95% is the subconscious. And what we're seeing is that this subconscious, this primary development of our system, that early brain is wired to be fearful, to be on the lookout, to make sure that something's not going to kill us or hurt us, right? And so it's always looking and scouring the environment, but it's also listening to our conscious thoughts. So what we repeat, what we say, what we think about gets imprinted into the subconscious. Now the subconscious, once it hears those messages, it replays the messages back all the time. It's what creates that rumination. Even though we're not wanting to think about it, we ruminate about it, right? And so what's going to happen now is we have a fear, we have a response. We get bullied, we get pushed. I remember one kid got pushed over in the playground and got kicked. Well, that was definitely something that was very traumatic to him. Well, that's something that left an imprint in him, right? And so now he's scared to go to school. Now he's afraid to not be with his mother. And this is constantly running in the background. Even though he doesn't want to think about it, it's running in the background, okay? So we all have these subconscious fears. They're all a part of our lives. Every one of us have it. This is why 60% of the population say they experience anxiety at some point on any given day. And it's not always an unhealthy thing to have anxiety. Understand, anxiety is, if I have a massive to-do list, well, that anxiety is a ton of get moving, get going, to have the energy and the resources to do that. As I do this video right now, I have a ton of energy and a ton of resources because I'm extremely nervous and extremely anxious about giving this information to you. And so my blood pressure's up, my sugars are up actually, my breathing's up, it's shortened breathing, right? And so all these things are happening all the time. Now, go back to the story about this kid. He's been hurt, he's been bullied, he's been in danger. And so now that subconscious is saying, hey, we have to be careful. This is really dangerous. And so when he starts to feel that feeling of unwellness, right? When he starts to feel that anxiousness, that anxiety, what's he going to do consciously about that? What's he saying about that anxiety? He's saying, I don't like it. I don't like the way this feels. I don't want to have this. And so now what's happening is he's resisting what's happening inside of his body. He's resisting what his body's trying to tell him. Well, if you ever got in an argument, when you disagree with what somebody says, that disagreement means that you're resisting what they're saying, that you're not in agreement. And you might not be in agreement because it's something that's threatening you, right? It could be something that is endangering you or endangering your belief system, and so, or your values. And so you're going to resist what they're saying. You're going to push back. Well, that resistance, in a sense, is a negative, undesired feeling, right? The undesired feeling of anxiety, pressure, and stress that he gets when he's going to school. So now he's got two things that are going on. And when we consciously resist what we're feeling in our subconscious, what our bodies are telling us, right? What we're feeling, we're then actually perpetuating those feelings. Okay? I want you to think about this for a second. When you are feeling a certain way and you say to yourself, I dislike that, I don't want to feel like that, in a sense, you're in disagreement with what your body's doing and what it's saying. And so that disagreement then creates resistance, and what we resist is going to continue to persist. What we resist continues to persist. Think about if somebody has back pain, their back hurts. They can go, man, I got some back pain today. Oh, what is that back pain? I really, really don't like the way my back's feeling right now. Oh, geez, what's wrong with my back? Something's got to be wrong. And then we create this belief pattern that something's really wrong with our back, right? And this continues now. Now we start to ruminate on it. Now we start to think about it. And now consciously, we have said out loud, I don't like this. I don't want this. And our subconscious goes, got it. Back pain, bad. Back pain, real bad. And so now we're avoiding and we're fearful of the pain that we're experiencing. And now we ruminate on that pain, consciously and subconsciously, and it starts to take over. And the more we focus on something, right, the more we magnify it, the more we bring it to our awareness. Versus, if you had some back pain, oh, got some back pain. That's okay. It'll probably go away in a day or two. Maybe I'll go get a massage, get an adjustment. It's okay. See, we don't necessarily have to like the feeling, right? But it's when we get in the desperate need to make that feeling go away. I need to not feel like this. I hate this way that I'm feeling, right? That resistance is going to continue to fester and magnify the problem. But if we can consciously say, hey, listen, I accept that I got some back pain right now, and that's okay. That's okay is the key. That's okay. So we have to accept that feeling. We have to accept that somebody has a different opinion than what we have, right? We have to accept that I've been in a trauma and I'm scared. I'm scared of other kids. I'm scared of going to school. I'm scared of being left without my mother, and that's okay. Because that's what's supposed to happen. My back hurts because I slept funny. It's supposed to happen, right? You're supposed to have anxiety. That's supposed to happen. But what doesn't have to happen is our resistance to the anxiety. Okay? The core main drivers of our anxiety, the core 3 thoughts that we all have on some level that are driving that fear, that are driving that anxiety, is the thought that I'm not good enough, I'm not doing enough, or I don't have enough, or eventually I might not have enough in the future, right? So those are the 3 tenets, those feelings that we aren't enough, we're not good enough, right? I'm not good enough, I'm not doing enough, and I don't have enough. Those are the 3 tenets of what are driving the things that we dislike and that we feel unwell about, that create anxiety or fear because we fear that we're not one of those things. And that's a normal thing. Like, we all have those feelings. But when we start to feel it in our chest, we feel our stomachs get tight, we feel our breathing short, we feel our faces get flushed like I am right now. And we say to ourselves further, I dislike this feeling, I hate this feeling, I don't want this feeling. We're then saying that we're scared of the feeling of anxiety. And then what happens is our world gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So now we're not wanting to go out and do things. We're not wanting to go to work. We're not wanting to go to school. We're not wanting to engage with other people because we're fearful that something's going to trigger that pain that we experience. In many cases in my office, when people come to my office, we know we can help them get better, but they feel like they have a fear that they're not going to be good enough, that they're not going to be able to do good enough to get well. And that fear of failure, that they're going to fail, keeps them from moving forward. It keeps them from engaging. And that's what fear does. It keeps us from getting involved. So the fear of the fear is what makes it worse, right? We then decide, you know what, I can't work because if I go out, somebody might trigger that feeling of anxiety, and I can't handle fear. I can't handle it. I can't deal with it. It's that belief, the belief that the feelings of anxiety are intolerable, that we can't tolerate them, that they are bad for us, that perpetuates the fear and the anxiety. When you start to feel that pain, when you start to feel that anxiety, when you start to feel that overwhelm, when you start to feel not worthy, when you start to feel lack of, simply say to yourself, I'm currently experiencing, or I'm experiencing anxiety. I'm experiencing overwhelm right now. It's just right now, right, guys? It's always just temporary. Nobody's in anxiety all the time. Well, not nobody, but the majority of us just experience it. Some of us experience it more often than others. And the reason we're experiencing it is because we have an untrained mind. The reason you're experiencing anxiety to the level that you don't like is because we have an untrained mind. And that mind means that the subconscious is running the show. That 95% of what we don't even think about is running the show. So how do we reprogram it? Just like Pavlov retrained the dogs to ring the bell to make them salivate, he created a habitual pattern. What's happened is because the habitual pattern of the fear that you've had has led to those continued patterns. Those continued patterns have led to you constantly living in a fear state. So we have to undo the fear state by saying, I accept. I'm experiencing anxiety, pain, overwhelm right now. Put it in its box because it's just right now. And that's okay. I accept. I'm experiencing pain, anxiety, overwhelm, fear right now. And that's okay. As we start to do this, now the conscious brain is restating the facts to the subconscious that's always listening that, hey, that's nothing to worry about. I got this. I can handle this. This is okay. Then the subconscious goes, oh, it's okay. So we're retraining it now. We're unconditioning it from that unhealthy, untrained brain behavior. Okay? There's a lot more I could go into. We can talk about how the body starts to respond and how the body develops patterns, and those bodily patterns start to trigger the brain patterns. But I need to know you guys like today. I need to know that this was valuable information. I need to know this is something that you guys want to explore with us. If it is, I'd love to share more. All right? Until next time, guys, get well, stay well.